All right. Well, so are you gonna be chair and run the meeting, or you want me to just do it?
Go ahead, have at it.
Okay, all right, I'll call the Monday, December 23rd Select Board meeting to order at 6:11 PM. I can review the agenda for addition or removal or adjustment of any items. I don't think there's any changes to this special Select Board meeting. It's a public forum. If anyone has any items to be discussed that aren't on the agenda, let me know now.
Good question. He's acting as a select board member, so he's not double dipping, right?
Right, that's a cool. I'll ask you that in executive session. All right. Okay. So we'll do item 3, regular business, continued review of proposed amendments and revisions to the Bristol water use ordinance. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen, and we're going to be looking at the document that we were looking at last time, which was 2 weeks ago.
God, it seems like yesterday.
No, I know it does.
We're here every
Let's
other day.
see.
We're here every other
No, I
day.
know.
Feels like it.
Okay,
I forgot my glasses.
sorry, I can zoom this up too. This out. Okay, does anyone happen to remember where we were?
Page 12.
Oh, nice.
I can tell you.
I know. And well, of course, now this formatting here. How do we see page 12? What are we on?
Down at the bottom, page
Wow.
10, you're on 10 of 30.
Where? Oh, got it.
Oh, where?
Okay.
That doesn't include all the pages we got rid of, is it?
No, I know. No, that does include the pages we got rid of. Okay. Well,
You gotta click in the, yeah,
Okay.
just by scrolling, not gonna
Okay.
do it
Oh,
for
I
you.
see. I thought it was smart. All right. Because I was like, man, that's a long page 10. There we go. Okay. Okay, here's 12. Right, so here we were. Does anyone have any notes that they had from the previous meeting? No.
No, not really. I mean,
Okay.
No, I'm, the price of K copper is now, for 3/4 inch K copper is now $8 a foot.
Thanks.
And we have a, right, wrong, or indifferent, we have a bunch of plastic in the ground already. Anytime we, not that we will again, because we had so much fun the last time, but anytime there's federal money involved, that doesn't mean anything.
Said you can't decide.
Fed,
You can't determine what
you can't
use.
dictate what
Okay.
they use, yes.
All right.
And the other thing that, you're worried about, and I get it, you're worried about the fact that the plastic causes cancer, but you drink out of plastic water bottles, you drink out of,
Right.
everybody has.
Plastics have been around
free.
for a long time, and there's obviously new regulations and new updates to it every year in terms of what it's not up to us to decide or to determine.
Right.
I think as long as it's like Steve has outlined previously, as long as it's determined to be eligible use by different organizations, I think that's fine. We already have a bunch of it in the ground. Yeah.
And
Just cut to the chase. So you want to take out the,
well, I'm just thinking of the general public. If I come to put a water line in for you and it's 75 feet long, I'm gonna buy a 100-foot roll. You're gonna pay for a 100-foot
Right.
roll plus whatever the markup is.
Mhm.
And then the extra 25 feet is gonna go home with me. And then, the next person's gonna pay for it again. That's just the way business operates. Whereas, plastic you can get in a roll that's 400 or 500 feet long, and it eliminates joints if it's put in properly.
there's the caveat. Put in properly.
Yeah, well,
Right.
I mean, yeah, you
Joel's
can.
obviously very passionate about that. He's we've had
So
multiple.
is Joe.
Yeah. But I think, I mean, here we're saying is required for lines,
Over 2 inches,
well,
Up to,
up to 2 inches, which is all service
which
lines.
is all
Yeah.
service lines,
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean,
I
I just,
yeah.
you know, I can see it getting more cost prohibitive for people, you know, $8 a foot's a lot, and you know, depending on what it gets marked up.
What's the lifespan of a PVC versus,
You know,
Okay.
that's something I'm not 100% sure of. There again, you know, it depends on how it's put in. We had that one on Garfield Street, that copper line that the water wore a hole through.
Mhm.
You know,
Yeah.
I'm sure the same thing can happen with PVC.
Yeah, I mean,
is PVC more susceptible to the cold though, like freezing and?
It's more forgiving.
or
It won't
Right.
split.
Okay. They'll expand?
It'll to a certain point.
Right.
You know, it,
Google says 100-year lifespan for PVC pipes in Vermont.
So the only problem with plastic is it disappears. There's no way to trace a plastic pipe. And everybody thinks that everybody's going to put this awesome tracer wire and that this tracer wire is going to be installed properly. And I've yet to see one installed properly. So if I no longer have to mark out service lines, then go ahead and put your plastic. But if I still am required to be marking them out, plastic disappears. It's not traceable. It does not conduct the
non-ferrous.
signal. Yep,
Okay.
non-conductive. So that's the bigger thing. I said the second part is plastic is a little bit more new to the market as far as historically speaking. And I still have suspicions as to what it's going to be found to cause later.
That's a chance we
So-
take with almost anything new.
Yeah.
I mean,
So
so, Jill, you know, if we allow them to do the PVC piping and require them to put a tracer wire, and it has to be reviewed by you before it's, or, you know, somebody within your department before it's buried, does that work?
I would just ask that I'm no longer required to mark out the customer side of the service if that's going to be allowed, because I can tell you they're going to disappear.
In all fairness, when you mark lines out now, a lot of times you don't use the locator. I know how you do it.
Haha. Yep, I'm good at that.
Well, yeah, I mean, and you know, that's the same way I do it when I'm looking for a line. She douses for them.
Yep, I do douse, and then when I can't find them by dowsing, then we clip on and we use the actual electric line locator that sends the electric signal down and has the 512 hertz locator. But yeah, I just, it's a lot easier. But yeah, I guess that's.
I think one of the main reasons that Bristol was always copper was that they used to thaw the copper lines with a welder. And, you know, you needed something that conducted electricity in order to be able to
Who used to
fracture the
thaw them?
ice. Oh, anybody who had a welder, Craig Brown used to do
You mean
it.
service lines?
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
which,
Yeah.
which you know, you can't get insurance to do anymore. The liability is
Yeah.
ridiculous. And now they just use cold water under pressure through like a 5/16 line and push it. And that's the way the water was thawed out here the last time it was thawed, the last time this froze, right? The last time this froze, it was Parker that came in with his high pressure pump and pushed the plastic line out through to thaw the line.
We have
Yeah,
plastic lines here, right?
No, we didn't have plastic line, we have copper. What was that, Jill? I'm sorry.
And the town,
Oh, you muted yourself, hang on.
oops, sorry.
Right.
And the town has since purchased a Magicist, which is the line melting machine or the frozen water melting machine that's at the pump house.
Oh,
Let's see.
I guess I do recall that.
Yep, we just haven't had a freeze event since then, thank goodness. Because
Yeah.
I'm sure that would be all kinds of fun to figure out which
Oh,
side is frozen. It's like, just unfreeze the darn thing.
yeah. Oh, it definitely is, you know, and it takes a well coordinated effort, because if you run that from the house out through and you get water and there's not somebody at the curb stop to shut it off, you're gonna get a lot of water.
Uh-huh. Yeah, because you got to open, and it's a lot of
Yeah.
pounds of pressure. It's a lot of water.
Yep.
Yeah,
I mean,
even when we just,
doesn't take a lot of water to thaw it, but but once it's thawed, you get a lot.
it's a true statement. It's always even just that little tiny turn of the ball valve at the curb when people are testing their water for their new line. It's even like, whoa, there's no bucket big enough.
So your concern is that you won't be able to find these lines.
It's the locating part and just knowing that they truly are going to stay fully attached to one another. Like we're going to need to still require them to use stainless and brass. Is if all of a sudden they start using plastic couplers, we're going to have
No,
break after
no.
break after break
Yes,
Are you
absolutely.
talking about
It's
in the house or are you talking about?
out underground. Yeah,
outside.
it's it's the same way with your domestic water. If you use a nylon bushing instead of a brass bushing, you at some point it's going to fail.
Yeah,
So
they're
you
just
put
garbage.
that in
Every
there?
failure I've seen up at other water systems, it's always the nylon.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
it's like, it's awful.
A lot of deep wells, people used to use nylon coming out of the pitless, and it would fail right there.
Mm-hmm.
9 times out of 10, if there was a water problem, that's where it was.
So what do we want to put in here?
Well, so 6.3 has the materials and equipment shall be used to meet the most recent Vermont Chapter 21 water supply rules specifications. So what are those particular specifications? Is that a long list? Is this where we've pulled from that for these things, the A, B, C, and D?
So it's the Vermont water supply rule, and it's also the AWWA, which is where the NSF rating is under. Those are kind of the drinking water standards.
Okay, do we want to have both of those in there?
I think so.
And AWWA.
Yeah, because AWWA and the Vermont drinking water regulations together, I mean, even in a more broad sense, we're regulated, the state of Vermont is regulated under the EPA. So that's where the drinking water standards are. And then Vermont has the Vermont water supply rule. And then AWWA is the certification for more of the standards that are far more detailed and complicated, like how to do a clean dig and what materials are certified, etc. So it's sort of, there's like layers to this onion.
Okay, so our first one is A. Type K copper pipe is required for lines up to 2 inches. And then Val had previously said, hey, should we remove use of plastic piping requires approval by the Water Commission? So do we just want to keep it so we can put both in there? Or
I think we leave A as type K copper is preferred.
okay. All right, so is preferred.
So basically, what'll end up happening is, like, for instance, over on School Street, where there's the request to do a what is it, like a boring?
Or, yeah,
That would be
PVC.
that would be if it no longer says shall be, but is preferred. There could be a pretty serious argument on that one.
Okay. Well, I mean, that's what I think that's what Peter is suggesting is loosening that language for the use of plastic or PVC.
Okay, so here's my question. If we allowed PVC, you could say if you choose to use plastic, PVC, whatever we're talking about, a tracer wire is required to be
Which I thought we had
put in there. Well, it is on the bigger ones.
Yeah, it's D.
Tracer wire shall be installed,
Oh, I see.
but that's for the bigger ones.
Well, if you look at the
And
cut,
must be-
if you look at the
must
cut
be
sheet
inspected.
Recording in
or
progress.
our the one that went out that you sent out,
Yep.
that requires the marking tape, which is also,
Is that just like a tracer wire?
well, it's metallic, but the difference is it's closer to the surface so that when you dig, you know there's something down there. but once it's broke, it's, yeah.
Which is the cut sheet? The ordinance,
I mean, I still want, I totally understand your concern about inferior products being used, Jill, and I still want teeth enough in there to make sure that doesn't happen. Do we say that all materials must be inspected prior to being placed in the ground?
But also, I thought the legislature passed that PFAS legislation. And so wouldn't that then prohibit the use of PVC
You need to
in the
unmute.
future? Oh, yeah,
No,
unmute Jill.
She said, please unmute me.
oh, that's right, because she joined again. Hang on one
Yeah, she
sec.
did.
Yeah. So what was the PFAS thing? Is that,
It was legislation that they just passed about removing or reducing PFAS chemicals from the water supply. So that would impact the use of PVC. So I don't know if we want to change this. Like if we change it, we might just have to turn around and change it again.
I thought they already
I've done-
determined that PVC didn't have PFAS in them.
So let me just tell you, I've done a little bit of research because I've started to have some of your residents, like your water users, ask me, why
yeah,
would you guys be putting plastic water lines in for the new projects if
Right.
they've got PFAS in them? So the research I've done so far states that most of the PFAS is manufactured and it's getting into the water supply from touching everything on Earth in 100 different ways and ending up in the rain and ending up in the groundwater. It's through firefighting foam where in areas where there's been firefighting and then the aquifer has had the firefighting foam get into their water, like what happened down in like Bennington / Rutland at airports, etc. And that maybe HDPE, which is that black rollout pipe, is possibly a carrier of PFAS. The weird thing is that what I call CTS, which is the blue plastic for drinking water, is also known as HDPE. So I'm a bit confused right now as to, we're being told that it's safe, but we're also being told that we can't have PFAS in our water and they're going to lower the federal limit to 4.
Right.
From
So
200 to 4.
So if somebody puts a PVC pipe and they test their water and they get PFAS over the limit, then what? Then they're gonna make them,
So right now it's not being tested at the tap, at the customer tap. It's being tested at the distribution, at source. So we're testing it from our raw water. If all of a sudden we're asked to start sampling it at people's homes, which is, in distribution at people's homes, like we are for lead and copper, that could change everything. Because that's after it's been through the distribution system and sent to homes. That it's not currently tested that way. I can't tell you if it's ever going to be, but I can't say that I'm completely comfortable that they're not going to keep on making it more and more painful.
So is the C900 PVC?
It technically is. It's called PVC C900.
So, yeah, I guess what I'm asking is, that's the same material.
It is. They're all plastics and they're all made with vinyl chloride. So there's just this little tiny part inside of me, this little tiny voice that's like, hey, hormone disruptor, that's plastic, that's bad for you. That's like, So I keep saying to Steve, can we just please do ductile iron? It's easier to trace. It's not known to cause any kind of issues, etc. And he just keeps saying, the plastic has been engineered. It's been in the ground for 40 years so far. There's nothing bad that's come of it yet. It's far less expensive for the water system. It's less expensive to install because it's lighter. If you want ductile iron and the town says that they want it, it's going to drive up the cost of the projects. But at what cost could it be for issues later from the plastic? It's just this like gross little feeling.
There isn't a house built today that uses copper anymore. They're all using PEX.
I know everybody's using the blue and red PEX.
Not my house.
Your
I
house
know
is
I've
old.
got copper too, but yeah, when you compare the cost, it is extremely different. But
is the PEX PVC?
Yes.
It is. Okay.
it's HDPE PVC. I mean, they're all different.
I think they call it like an extrude or something like that of plastic. It's,
Well, can we leave it required for now and just make a note to come back and revisit this one? Let's not waste too much time.
Yes,
here.
no, I know, this is our.
Mhm.
That
only
sounds-
So the copper so is required, the ductile iron, are we leaving in the PVC? Is
I guess for
required
now.
versus preferred?
I mean, that's what the system has made a decision on thus far, and you're very well engineered into a bunch of
Okay.
C9 PVC.
You would want to remove this option as Val previously suggested, the use of plastic piping requires approval.
The
I
only
think we
time
were-
that it was approved was with a meter pit, and I think it was primarily Joel's concern and mine as well, that if the plastic is going to possibly be of less of a rigid standard and end up breaking on a long run, we're not gonna see the leak.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna take that out then.
Yeah, I don't see a
Okay with
problem.
that.
If we're gonna revisit, I don't see a problem. I
Okay.
just, you know,
Yeah, I know.
we have a bunch of it in the ground already.
Right. Yeah,
And I know, you know, like all the rural water is through the black PVC. You know,
Yeah.
nobody runs copper from their deep well.
No, it is true. It is all that black HDPE,
Yeah.
which is why I'm like, oh God, should we be testing at our houses for PFAS, or are we gonna open like the biggest can of worms we've ever opened, and then it's
probably. I mean, everyone was great with using other kinds of materials.
Yeah. I mean, we use lead for a long time.
I know. Or asbestos. Asbestos
Yeah.
was great.
Yeah.
But
it
yeah,
was really
so
flexible.
yeah, it was. Okay. Anything here?
No.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, Joel. Put in the wrong passcode.
I sent the password.
Okay, I'm just gonna put you on speaker.
I can send the passcode again.
He said he tried the passcode and it said it was the wrong one.
Well, you gotta push the right buttons. He's probably got the right passcode, just pushing the
I
wrong
did
button.
push the right button, speaker.
You always push the wrong buttons, Joel. That's why I get so excited.
All right.
Yeah, Ian, I did that one, 619003. Then they hit pound key, it said, and I did that.
No, not the pound key.
Okay, I'll try it again. I'll hang up, try it again.
Okay.
Bye.
Find out.
Sit down.
Is
We're
he
just-
calling in or is he joining with?
He's gonna call in to the number.
Oh, hold on a sec. That might be different than wait 1 sec. Wait, let's just go to. How do I do this? It's over here.
I don't know how my computer, otherwise I'd do it for you.
That's that.
6190 is the passcode, that's right.
Yeah. Is it different for telephones then?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, it's the same thing.
It should be the
All right.
same number, yeah,
Well,
because that's what
guess-
I gave him, the number and the passcode.
Okay.
I sent it to him.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's not working, huh?
Yeah, I guess I'll stay on this way. It said it
Okay.
doesn't exist. That 619003 doesn't exist.
Huh, okay.
Need
Sorry.
an ID number.
Sorry about that. Can you see what we're looking at or not? Because it's going to be difficult for you to comment, perhaps.
Yeah, that's all right. I'll listen in. And
Okay.
You missed all the fun.
why, what happened?
Well, we've talked about PVC for the last half hour.
BBC.
PVC.
Plastic piping.
Oh.
So we're moving on. We're done.
It's okay. We didn't change anything.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. We got some deletions here.
I mean, you probably don't need me on there anyway. I'm going to try to go into school with my tablet, see if I can get on by that.
Okay.
Okay?
Yeah,
I'll call
get-
you back if I need you.
Okay. Give that a try. Bye-bye. Just imagine him wandering around trying to find Wi-Fi or something. All right. How do I turn off these
I
things?
love formats.
No, I know. I gotta do
Yeah.
that. I'm just gonna go through the notes here for these particular
Right.
ones. So this one's this one. Acceptance by the Water Commission of private utility extensions as properties of town water system shall be limited to the water main, curb stops, meter pits, and hydrants, and not affect any other private rights of way.
Yeah, that's talking about the deeds, the
Okay.
easement deeds and
Yeah.
stuff, so.
So that's fine. All right,
Mhm.
maybe I can, how do I turn off the markup here?
I don't know that you can.
Simple markup, there we go, that's better. Okay, so this is okay, so we're accepting this,
That's fine,
resolve,
because we didn't have it in
okay.
previous versions.
Include a boilerport easement document in a new appendix D.
Yeah,
Do we
which
have?
will, I don't know if it's in there, I know we have it because we did it for your mom's.
Okay.
Because
So
we
this
did
is
it for
appendix
Joel
D.
too, right?
I don't think it's been done yet for Joel.
All right, so we need to check on appendix D for there.
Yeah. Isn't that above too? All water main extensions shall be designed by register. Didn't I just see that?
Yeah, that
above?
was in that section we just looked at,
That's what I thought,
there.
right there. So does it need to be in both?
I don't know why, so 664, and then we're into, it talks about,
8.
Extensions.
so this is extensions, so I guess you're having
Yeah, I
you're
guess
making
so.
sure that it's in both areas. As long as the design as long as it's the same. I don't know, do you know who did the green? Was that, Jill, do you know who did the,
Steve.
who did the green in this document? Was it Steve or yourself?
I would have to guess Steve.
Okay.
You know it wasn't you then.
I was not me.
And
I do
know-
think that if it's a water line extension, if we, the town, were to choose
Yep.
to extend the water main, we would hire an engineer to design it because all water main extensions are to be designed by an engineer. So if a developer is choosing to do it at their cost, it also needs to be done by a licensed engineer, because it's not just a single household or 4 households with water connections on an existing main.
Right.
Okay. So these are 2 Steve things here, and that seemed fine. What about this, the add language?
That's under the water supply rule is where that is. It actually might be, there's another rule that comes into play, which is the water and wastewater permit requirements. That's where that actual letter comes from.
Wait, so
You
hang
mean
on.
the WW permits?
Yes, you know what I'm talking about. The water wastewater permit that you get
Yeah.
from the district offices. Those
Yeah.
are for individual connections, or they can also be for subdivisions.
Right.
Those ones. There is
Wait,
a
so-
certification that, but I think that's more for a water line extension, like a water main.
Right. But is this, so,
Cause that's what we're talking about in this section.
Yeah, so
Right.
water main would need a record drawing. A water connection wouldn't need a record drawing.
I guess I would make a note to ask Steve to get us that language.
Okay. right, because is that language gonna be in an appendix, or?
No, I think
it's gonna be in here?
Actually, I think we should point to the source. And maybe put the source in an appendices, because otherwise we'd have to keep updating the body of the ordinance, and we shouldn't do that.
Okay, yes, so we're gonna add this, we're gonna say,
Refer to the source and put the source in the appendix.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, because I believe we can update appendices as things change with the rules, and I think that the body of the ordinance should stay really specific and not be tied to something that's gonna change over a short period of time.
Well, it takes time to change this too. It has to be warned and.
yeah,
whereas the
appendix
we don't.
of what?
I think you got all the way through D right now.
Appendix D, okay.
I think you would
Refers-
No,
need
I mean appendix E, because D was the easement deed.
for the
Mhm.
source document and put a link to this and then ask Steve for,
The source.
source slash language. Okay, I can't spell. There you go. Lovely, thank you.
Jessica, we still good?
Still good.
I
We
was gonna
don't
say
hear-
she left us.
Yeah, well, we don't have your picture up anymore, so we don't know if
Oh.
you're there or not.
She's there.
Oh, it went away?
No, it's hidden in terms of the way the Zoom is here, so we can see the document better.
Oh, that's okay. You don't need to see me.
No,
No, but we don't know.
yeah.
We don't know
That's
if
why
you're
I
still with us.
She's paying
I'm
attention.
not gonna leave you. I'm here for the long haul.
It's just Joel running from building to building, trying to
That's
connect
right.
this.
That's right.
So nothing major here. And obviously the formatting will clean up when we get to this. All right, what do we got here? We say this above in 5.1. Do we need it here too?
And I'm assuming the answer is yes, because we're talking about a different section.
We're talking about the extension.
Yeah.
So let's resolve that. Prohibitions. No installer, okay, what do we got? Do we ever give a timeline of when they have to complete the installation once an application is submitted? Do they ever expire? Will we ever require them to resubmit an application, especially if it has been years and maybe the requirements have changed?
That's a good question, because like the one off of Fitch Ave
North Street?
was like 20 years later, and the curbs were not working properly.
Is that the little development off Fitch Ave?
Yeah, Ezra's Way.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was a little bit of a mess. They were the wrong size versus like their permit had them as 1 inch, their design had them as 1 inch, and everything in the ground was 3/4. And they just ran them to like these random open spots in the lots without anything coming up in the ground. It was weird. What they did over for Peaker's development was much better. At least they came up at each one and put curbs in, and they came up and showed where the ends were, which makes a lot more sense.
Same thing we did on Joel's.
Same with Joel's. It's like, that's just sensible. You can actually test the curb. You can see where it's coming out. You can make sure it's not like running open and leaking water everywhere. It's just sensible.
So given that, and given that there have been cases where a lot of time has passed, how would we want to update this to reflect that? Because we're saying that you can do it as long as the manner set forth in any plan specifications submitted and approved by the water commissioners. I mean, we could just add a within 10 years of the project, 5 years of the project, a year of the project.
I would, typically stuff is a year,
Okay.
and we could allow for an extension.
A 1-year
just-
extension, and then
Then
you have to reapply.
The only thing that I can see is like if you had, I want to be careful what I say. Take off a Plank Road, the north side of Plank Road, where my parents own, and there was a development, a 50-unit development
Yeah.
going in there. You're not gonna put all 50 units in a year's time,
Right.
but
Okay.
you would put the whole main in, you wouldn't put only partial main in.
Yeah, you wouldn't put individual lines.
Right, and
Okay.
you'd probably put all your curbs in. So I would say probably a year.
With a year extension, with a
With-
possible year
yeah.
extension with approval.
Yeah.
And then you have to reapply, if you don't get it constructed by then you have to reapply
Yeah,
and possibly re-engineer it if things change.
yeah, if,
Completely done or just started?
I would
Well,
say
that's,
completed.
because my thoughts with the place I mentioned is if you were gonna put in a water main, you wouldn't just, if you did a 50-unit development,
Yeah.
you would have a plan, and you wouldn't
Right.
just put in 500 feet of water line, you'd
Right.
put all the water line in at once, so that it was.
I think that depends on the developer, but
Right.
you would
No,
hope they would do it right.
Usually
Right.
with a
Yeah,
main
they-
like that,
Mhm.
I would guess Joe, what are your thoughts? And something like that would probably require it to be looped.
If you were going big like that for fire protection, you'd want to loop it so that you'd have adequate flow and so that you could flush it so you wouldn't get just like kind of gross dead end water.
So I mean, something of that nature and size is probably all gonna go in at once.
Well, what about the smaller ones? I mean, I'm just thinking, if they don't get it done, it's an increased cost to them.
Yes.
So it kind
Right.
of incentivizes them to get it done.
Well, the
Within the 2
construction
years, right?
permit, the construction permit that they're gonna get from the state is only gonna be 2 years. Maximum duration is 2 years. So
Hmm.
in my gut, I'm thinking, okay, 2 to 5 would kind of be the longest that we should let anything linger. Certain projects that are in design could take a while to get through Act 250. Act 250 could sit on something for a year or two, or certain developers could end up in court for 10 years, like Walmart had to do. So I don't know, maybe we make it long enough to let them get things done, but not so long that other permits would have expired.
So increase that maybe to 2 years?
Yeah, 2 years feels like it'll fit a typical project.
Okay, so we've got that in
And
there.
no extension?
Well, I guess we want to make sure that what's put in the ground is,
Meets the current
Meets the
rule.
Right.
current rules.
and if it changes within 2 years, let's say that with the PVC thing, it's all that's approved to do PVC. And
Or
then,
it's-
and then
And
it's up
then
to
the
the
state says no.
Yeah, the state. and
Or the federal
if-
government
After a
says no.
year, the state says no, and they still have approval to put it in, and we go there and they're putting in PVC, even though they shouldn't be. So, I mean, that's within a year, but 2 years, but I guess. I mean, I've created a situation there that makes it more complicated, but,
Well, I mean, unfortunately, once the permit's issued, I
right,
don't think the state
Yeah.
can come back on that. But if in 2 years they haven't done it, then we
Yes.
could
Yeah.
say,
yeah.
sorry.
All right, so that's a
And
lot,
are you saying, submitted and approved by the government within 2 years?
And then we would add another.
You wanna make sure they're saying it's complete in 2 years. Not just started.
well,
It says
it's complete,
complete
shall complete.
construction of any
Yeah.
Okay.
service.
No owner, user, no installer, owner, or user shall complete construction of any
Right.
service.
Okay.
Wait, that doesn't make sense. No owner shall complete construction of any service with the town's water system in any manner other than set forth in any plans, specifications submitted to the approval by within 2 years.
The time doesn't matter because we're saying they can't just add to the water system without an approval.
Right, so do
No,
I,
I would say after commissioners put a period and then
Okay.
say construction must be complete within 2 years.
The piece that's kind of in the middle. So the wood stove is satisfying with thermostat.
yeah. Construction must be completed within 2 years, right?
Right.
Okay, that sound good? Does that answer your question here? And do we also need to have that on other documents?
And this is just a water main extension. This is not a service line.
No,
It's not this, no, this is not part of the water main. This is a whole
It says-
separate section.
It says
Well,
water main
Minor
extension
extensions Or a repair. Oh.
of the town's water
those
system.
prohibitions, that's what this section is.
What are prohibitions?
Yeah,
I'm asking. I'm asking
He's asking what.
for a
what
Things you
definition.
can't, things you can't do.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
I think that the 2 years doesn't matter because we're saying they can't do it.
okay,
I think the 2 years needs to go into like when they get a permit and
Right.
they're working on the construction, we need to, maybe when we do the permit application and the approval, we put a date on it. Sorry, we have a 10 and a half month old providing input from the back room here.
We can hear them.
um,
To the permitting section. I
Yeah,
don't know where that is, but we'll have to find it.
it might be up a little bit higher, actually.
We can go back
I'll make
and
a
search
note of
it,
that.
search.
okay,
Are you gonna take that out?
Yeah, he will. He's making a note
I'm gonna
that.
make it
we're-
down, I'll pop it back up to the top
Oh,
there.
okay.
Administrative approval and the consultation with the water operator.
And I think because we've been communicating this better, the installers of them over this past year, it's gone a lot smoother. I think our communication has been better. So. But it's nice that the language is there, just to kind of say, oh, look here. But it's also just about communicating it that, hey, just, schedule it, call me.
Right.
Gotta see it.
So Val's comment here is that we're talking about a permit, but is she asking, or she's saying administrative approval in consultation? Is that more than just doing a permit for it?
I think it's saying that they can't just put a tap. Hold on.
Right, they have to
There's
get a
two,
permit.
there's two subjects. They can't perform a tap or make any connection with, they can't do it. And if they wanted they can't do it, and they certainly can't do it without a permit from the Water Commission or its designee, and without the water operator being present to oversee it. So it's like A, they need to get permission, and then B, we need to see it.
All right, so it's resolved in that, okay.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Where do you have to go?
Okay. All right,
They are the town.
who are the town?
So the fire department is owned by the town.
Part of the town, yeah.
And they are very much, there's another spot in here that designates that they're certainly authorized to utilize the hydrants. And then further, I don't know that it's specified in the ordinance, but I know that the chief and his staff are very good about communicating for usage, just so that we can keep track of volume.
I guess part of that is
And make
is other uses. If I want to fill my swimming pool, my non-existent swimming pool, can I get the fire department to do that?
No.
No.
Why? Then why are they doing the cemetery?
The
Right.
water department doesn't, excuse me, the
devil's advocate.
fire department does not want to because they don't have the time.
So we're doing the cemetery in lieu of installing a new water line down there.
Ah, okay,
Because the water line
okay, got it.
went to crap.
Okay, all right, so that makes, because I know that question will be asked,
Yeah.
so, yeah.
No,
Okay.
That's why.
Yeah, I think that's fine, so we would
Yeah.
keep that. I don't think that we need to break that out.
Yeah, we've given permission for that, so.
Yeah,
Yeah, like
Okay.
their designees, I would say the fire department is certainly a designee.
yeah,
Utilize a fire hydrant to fight a fire, like very much so.
right, they don't need to check with us in order to do that.
No, they just to let us know after. We're like, fight the fire first, and then just let us know in case we need to pump it out in the winter time, or just
Yeah,
there's a good volume of water that we can put it into our audit, so we can kind of keep track of the tens of thousands of maybe
yeah.
purposefully used water.
So this one here, another one from Val. No voluntary disconnection from the water system by a user shall be made without first submitting a request in writing to the Water Commission or its designee. And paying.
And I think she's hoping that we don't have to, like, putting in it, or its designee doesn't require it to come to us all the time,
Right,
so.
okay,
I
so
think
I
that's
think that's
okay.
fine. And then, yeah, verify that reference, we'll keep that in there. Because those sections will change.
Right.
Oh, yeah. 914, the owner or user shall not paint any component of the water service to the property.
What does that mean? Like paint the
The-
house and
the
paint over the
touchpad.
touchpads?
Yeah.
Yeah. The water.
I
so
think it's supposed to
painting the
say
water
to
service.
match the property.
Ah,
They also
People
cover-
keep painting their touchpads to match their trim or their siding color, and so they basically,
Hide it.
yeah,
You gotta
they
put in-
paint them to match, and then you can't.
Yeah, you gotta
can't
fix that,
see
Liam,
them.
that doesn't make sense.
I'm getting there.
Okay.
An owner or user shall not paint, well, do we want, so any component, that doesn't include, that only means the touchpad, correct?
No,
They can
any
paint-
component.
Well, but what about pipe? I can paint
They
the pipe.
shouldn't be painting hydrants that are on their lawn. They shouldn't be painting their water meter.
No,
So any water system component, they should not be painting.
Okay, all right.
I don't know how many pipes actually come up on the wall. Don't
Yeah, I
most of them
guess,
go
I guess my
inside?
touch, I mean, I'm a newer house, but my touchpad is just, it's just the black touchpad on the wall.
Yeah.
So
That's all they
and
all
I
have.
shouldn't paint that, which I haven't.
It's a good
You were
thing.
thinking about it, weren't you?
But my meter is in my basement.
Mhm.
You
But I'm
can't
not-
paint
I
that
don't wanna
either.
Paint that, okay.
I mean, it would be really foolish to paint them, but I've seen some people put spray foam all over them and I'm like, guys, this is like a mechanical thing. It needs to be serviceable.
Visual.
Yeah,
Ah, why did you put that yellow, yucky, sticky yellow stuff all over it?
and everything, to not paint any component of the water service. Water service to,
Get rid of the.
It doesn't matter if it matches, just don't paint it.
what am I getting rid of?
I was gonna say, if you're gonna put match the
Period.
property, you gotta get rid of the before
Yeah, well, I
match.
don't, we don't want to
Period.
paint anything, so I don't
No.
think that's,
So can we just leave this as
Yeah,
this?
right, yep. I just wanted to
But
understand
now
what
you-
she was
yeah,
saying.
okay,
It's
all
like,
right.
hey,
Yeah, may not paint any component of the water service to the property.
Oh, that's what they
Right,
meant. They
exactly.
didn't mean to match the property. They meant the water service that's going to that property, don't paint it.
Yes,
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's the
we-
water
we-
service and meter set is maybe.
okay, so let's do
It's the
that.
meter, the touchpad is a part of the meter set.
Okay, so let's do that, and we need to spell out, if we're questioning it, then we need to,
Mhm.
give a little bit more detail on that,
Yeah.
okay? Assessment and collection of water service fees, to verify the reference, we can do that. Paid to town of Bristol at the town office or online, yep, water bill should have issued in the first name and the owner accepted it. Okay,
Well, this was just a comment by me, so that, when somebody conveys the property out, I know Sharon, probably you get the deed in, so you say, okay, who's the new owner, you see
We
that,
try or they call.
right,
Okay.
but, like with the town of Middlebury, when I call them and say, I need a closeout water read for closing, they send me a new owner form and say, please have them fill this out at the closing and send it to the town. So I don't know if that's helpful to you, but I could probably find
If
that.
they obtain a water read, a lot of people don't wanna pay the price.
Well,
So we
how
don't
did
know
they,
until we get it in.
if I'm representing somebody, I want to close out water read because I don't want my buyer to pay for the seller's water.
right. So do we wanna,
But I can get the form to you if we want to have that
Yeah, we can
done.
always have one.
Yeah,
We don't have one now.
okay,
Right.
I'll find it.
okay, the
I mean, I
owner,
don't know that we need to put it in there, but.
no, but I mean, it's just a sort of a note to actually offer that service, I guess.
Mhm.
The owner or approved applicant under section 404, or whatever it is, once this is formatted, is responsible for the payment of the water bills and is also responsible for notifying the town office of any change of mailing address, contact information, or change in ownership. Okay. Failure to receive a bill does not relieve the owner of the obligation for payment or for the payment of the penalties of the late payment. Okay. All right, so I'm going to resolve this because you're going to take care of that, Libby. I don't think any of this has changed, or this has been. Got a nice picture in here now.
I do like the picture.
The picture's great. Okay,
We're gonna have to ask Kevin about that because I don't know what this,
what,
the 12.1, she says,
Oh.
look at KB's draft for private hydrants. Oh, do we have, because we have that one private hydrant, right?
St. Francis.
St. Francis, yeah, or Francis Place, whatever it is.
so, where's, okay, let me find KB's draft, if I can. We have that.
What's that?
Well, where's KB's draft?
Right there, well, I don't know where it is, I don't
That's
know
what I
where it
mean.
is, so he will probably have to go through this again, but we can ask him.
Okay.
To make sure he looks at 12.1.
Okay. All right.
'Cause he must have made some
we'll keep that
changes.
there, okay.
Yeah.
No person shall make any connections to any hydrant on the town's water system, and no person may cause any such hydrant to be opened except as authorized by these rules and regulations, or otherwise by the water commissioners.
commission.
Yeah, I know, isn't that, we'll have to do the whole thing of that. There we go. And then, oh, what was your, sorry, I just deleted your comment there.
Yeah, and my question was, what's the consequence? Is there a consequence? No, not that one.
No, I know, jump back. Okay, it's here. I guess it's hiding
Yeah,
here.
guys, scroll down.
Still says commissioners.
Yeah,
No, I know,
because he had to
because if
put
I
it back
delete this,
in,
it
'cause
goes in, because it's.
And that's fine, you can delete it.
Okay, so what is the consequence? Do we have a consequence for that?
I
if
mean,
they
I know
do
we
connect
have
to a hydrant?
some penalties in that, in one of the schedules exhibits, but I don't know if that,
I mean,
Why?
can anyone connect to a hydrant?
No,
they
But I
can
mean, like,
figure it out, they can.
but like technically,
They
I
can
know
open
the
a
fire
hydrant
department
if they
can,
have
but
a,
like, can I just go to a hydrant and start mucking around with it?
if you know how to open it.
Right,
there's nothing really to stop you.
okay. I mean, have we had issues of people
No.
connecting the hydrants?
No, but like you'll see in New York City, when it gets really hot, they open the hydrants,
Right.
you know.
Don't give him any ideas. We'll
That's
have
a-
water
I mean, that-
coming off the
that's a
mountain
classic,
terrace. down
classic
over
New
the
York
hill.
film thing that you see. But I think unless we're having issues with that, I don't
Yeah.
see it as being an issue.
I mean, pretty much no. It's a given, nobody touches a hydrant.
You'd hope, or
Yeah.
paint some. Um,
I think it's just in there so that if you happen to see somebody just decide to crank up and connect to a hydrant, because it's
Yeah.
connected to the town's water system and it's a cross connection and it could potentially contaminate. And if it was in the winter time and it wasn't a draining hydrant, it could actually create a frozen water system and a pressure event like what happened in Middlebury and cause $1 million worth of damage. That's why we don't want people touching them.
so do we want consequences in there? I mean,
Well,
I
I
think
just-
it's just like if it were to happen, we have the wording to be able to
Yes.
address it and say, no.
yeah.
Maybe
Okay,
you put in there consequences per the fines in exhibit, whatever it is. Or see exhibit, whatever for fines, I don't know, you know,
but do we have a specific fine for that, though?
we could add it to it.
Okay,
I mean, I don't know where, I don't know where our fine sheet is. so
yeah,
I don't know if that's been built out yet.
It's your fee schedule. Your fines
Yeah.
are in your fee schedule.
okay.
Do we need to say we're linking that to that?
Well, we'll just
Yeah.
make a reference.
Yeah,
I
it's
guess,
sort of
once
these are
we-
my internal notes. I'll go back, we'll look at that document and then we'll figure out.
Like what exhibit it is,
Yeah.
what
And
schedule.
what words it needs to?
Yes.
Okay.
I don't remember if it's A or B anymore. I know that the fees are in there. I know that the details are in there. I know that the easement is in there. And there's something else back there. There's like 4
Yeah.
things back there.
It keeps increasing.
Yeah.
We also say they get charged the cost of the water used. What is the consequence for doing this? You and your consequences.
It's gotta be consequences.
There is a charge for water usage for bulk water. That's already in the fee schedule.
Okay,
For this situation, Jill?
for 13.3,
Let's see, when water is supplied for, oh no, we don't charge because it's the town.
No, but if it's found out to be used for other than fire protection purposes,
I think that's the same as the one above where we don't have a fee schedule for it yet.
so.
add a fee schedule.
You
I
know,
suppose
Lincoln's,
so.
it could probably be the same one that's for the one above, the same.
I
you know.
agree. It's pretty
Fine.
much just like you got sticks and carrots. It's to make a stick, like don't do it or we're gonna fine you.
Okay,
We have anything in this one.
okay, this was for this one here, C.
Commissioners.
Yeah, that's what the timing was just what confused me. It says the appeals not more than 15 days following receipt of the notice of appeal. What's appeal? This is when that time is, you know.
We have had
Yeah,
one of
see, this-
one of these issued once and it only took about 12, not even 12 hours, less than 12 hours for the issue to be addressed and the stop work order to be relieved. So generally, when a contractor's doing work, they don't want to stop for that long.
The receipt of a stop work order may appeal the order to the water commission by filing a notice of appeal with the water commission within 7 days of the date of the stop work order. After receipt of the notice of appeal, the water commission shall hold a public hearing on the appeal not more than 15 days. Not more than 15 days following receipt of the notice. Okay, so I guess that's okay.
Okay,
I was thinking there was an overlap or not
Right.
enough time frame.
okay.
So it's 15 days after you receive the notice of appeal. Okay.
I can't imagine, like Jill says, I can't imagine anybody stopping for that long.
Yeah, but, so we say US mail, can we also say email? I mean,
Can we do it legally by email?
nowadays they accept that as service for the court system.
Can we do email and mail? You know,
Maybe just put email with return receipt. So that there's some type of proof that the person they sent it to actually got it.
Yeah, but you can say read
Yeah.
receipt requested and they can turn that off.
yeah,
I mean, we might have to do first class US mail and email.
okay.
I'm not saying in place of, I just
Okay.
say, can we say,
How about an email?
yeah, so that they can get it quicker.
Yeah,
Yeah. Okay, that is, my question on this was like, we had one amount, it doubled, and then it only went up like $100, and I was
Yeah.
like, okay, why isn't it doubled?
all right, so. Okay, we're on 15.7. Enforcement actions before the judicial bureau shall commence by the issuance of a municipal civil complaint pursuant to blah, 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 blah. Each day that a violation continues shall constitute a separate violation. In lieu of a payment of a civil penalty, the recipient of 1977 municipal civil complaint ticket.
Yeah.
Who declines the cost of the waiver
They paid a
fee.
waiver fee, yeah.
The first offense ticketed for a violation shall be punishable by a civil penalty of $500. The waiver fee shall be $250.
Mhm.
A second offense ticketed shall be punishable by a civil penalty of $600. So you're saying you want it to be $1,000?
No, there was something that, what did I say? First and second offense increases by $350. Where the hell did I see that?
Next one down, the third offense.
No, I thought like between 500 and 600, I thought it went up by like 600, like $350.
No, it doesn't seem like it. I think you're looking maybe the waiver fee.
It went up $100, the waiver fee is half.
So it's half, yeah, half, and then, yeah, half again.
Okay,
So that's right.
500, 600, 700, yeah, I guess so, I don't know what I was reading, boy, my brain must have been tired by that point.
Okay,
You know, for some reason, I thought it said 500, 600, or 500, 1,000,
yeah.
yeah, I'm just giving you an example, and then the next one was like $1,100.
Yeah, it
and
was
I'm
back
like,
down, yeah, okay. Unless that got changed, you commented on something that maybe
Yeah.
got changed. Again, by the fourth offense, they should have
Yeah,
been
you can
even
ignore
higher.
that too.
Okay, so maybe that got updated perhaps.
I don't know.
Yeah.
It makes more
Yeah.
sense now.
Yeah. Okay,
But when you say,
so we're up
so
to,
if you're a fourth offense, it's $800, and the next day you still haven't fixed it, it's another $800. Because for each day is a separate offense.
correct.
So. Okay,
Yeah, and if we're up to the 800, it can be brought to the
right.
criminal division superior
Mhm.
court.
Wow.
Did we miss some pages? Well,
No,
there's
we've got
still
all
a
the
few things.
appendixes.
Yeah, I know. Okay, so we got a.
There's the emergency rules. So where we were making reference to that, up there, they're in here
Yeah.
already. The source, I think, is in here already.
Well,
The emergency rules are.
right, yeah, we'll have to double check
Yeah.
that.
Yep.
Right, it was notification, but it was like what the emergencies were.
Right,
That was the big
Mhm.
thing. Okay, so that's in there. All right.
Those are the new rates.
Well, so we've got the both.
Yep.
We've got this
Mhm.
one, oops, until
We can
December.
almost delete that
Yes,
now.
right. Can we take that out then?
I don't see why not, right?
I
The new
would,
rates
it's
are-
not, a December billing is truly the new billing rate, so yeah, we're done with the old way.
I've done a couple out of cycle reads and it's on the new billing rate.
Okay, so we can just take
Cool
this.
beans.
I mean, we have another version of this, which
Yeah.
is the prior
Yeah.
date,
Mhm.
which has it in. So then we can just take this out. Okay,
These are all current.
yeah. So what's this one, the 104?
It hasn't filled that numbers in yet. I mean,
Who,
I don't know who has a sprinkler? The school
School,
over here,
Megan's Meadow,
Megan's Meadow,
the fire
the
station,
firehouse apartments,
And the new place
the
behind
new
it,
place
all
behind
Earth
it,
or
all
whatever
Earth
it is.
Bristol
renewables,
Works must have.
and Bristol Works.
Everything on Firehouse Drive is sprinkled.
Yeah,
the library does.
this does.
Is there anything on Main Street that does?
The library does, but it's in,
It's-
no, I know, there's nothing in
Should-
here.
I don't see anything.
I would think.
The
Okay.
Shaw's has a sprinkler too.
Bank? Does the
Shaw's
bank
does,
have
yeah.
sprinklers?
We do have a lot of people that have sprinklers.
Yeah, I
The
think
library
Joel,
has
I think
them.
Joel would know better than me about the bank. I've not seen it.
I would think they have to if they're commercial.
There was, it depends.
Depends on when.
Mhm.
The library has one, but it's in one of their closets.
Oh, it's like a baby.
Like one
Well,
sprinkler?
Yeah, because
Really?
when we were looking around to do the assessment on the building, in the closet that's behind the fish tank, which is just a storage closet, there's a pipe and there's a sprinkler right in there. There's no other sprinklers in the
Maybe
main
it doesn't,
area.
maybe it's disconnected
I don't know why you would put it
there.
in there. Why would you put a sprinkler in a small closet, Jill? Any idea about that in the library? But not have it in the main space in the library?
Well, we have, at our shop, we have a sprinkler head over our boiler.
So maybe it's something to do with that, when it, I don't know.
No.
I don't, maybe
It
we
was
don't want the
required.
books to get wet. I don't know.
It was-
I mean, yeah, but still.
Jill, have we ever, I mean, I'm not sure that we've had a sprinkler system actually be used.
I don't
Here.
think there hasn't been one in the last 9 years that I've seen.
Right.
There was,
Sometimes they get tested, which can kind of mess things up a little
Legion.
bit, but
The Legion?
Legion has. one.
Okay, well, so do we leave it as pending, or do we actually fill that in then?
if you guys wanted to start charging more for sprinklered buildings, you'd have to kind of think about that, because then you're gonna start having to figure out who's got them and how you want to bill it and how you want to figure out what to bill them.
Okay, so let me ask you this. The sprinkler systems don't go through the meter though, right? Or do
No.
they?
No,
So
none
you
of them.
wouldn't be able to know how much, I mean, if you wanted to bill them when they use the sprinkler, that's one thing, but you aren't even gonna know how much water they would use.
Right, what is a sprinkler system standby water fee? What would that be if we had one?
If it's because we're always, I think, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm thinking because we're on standby all the time for them
Yeah.
to use the water system, we may have a surcharge.
Oh.
Yes, and the
See.
town side of that water connection is probably like a 4 or a 6 inch
Mhm.
up to the valve that we're responsible for, and they're responsible just from when it leaves the valve, which is the equivalent of a curb. So maybe it's because it's a more expensive connection size.
Hmm,
I mean, could you charge like $100 a year for that
I guess so.
type of thing?
Charge
You know,
whatever
like
you
saying it's a
want.
surcharge for the,
I mean, they're already paying for water.
yeah, but that's
most
not
of those.
metered.
No, I
What
know.
does, any idea what Middlebury does?
I don't.
Ask.
Cause
Joel might
Middlebury
know.
has.
Middlebury does charge for it, very much so.
I know I put them in, I did Good Rose and I did a church and I did a couple others, but I never involved in the fee side of it.
yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
Let me check with Google. Let me see if it's public.
I mean, if worst case scenario, I could email the treasurer's office because they do the water stuff, they would know.
Then we're gonna have to go around and find everybody that's got sprinklers, cause there's quite a few.
Yeah, a lot more than I
It'd be
was
nice- it'd be
thinking.
Nice to have an inventory of that.
Well, I mean, I'm assuming the assisted living place up on Mountain Street has one.
No.
No, really? That
I don't believe
surprises me.
so. They just
Okay.
have alarms.
Surcharge.
This is select board, which is me, I guess, the account I created, but I don't know why I'm updating it, why I'm saying that. What was this?
Surcharge for what?
Well, it's fees.
Yeah, I know, but what are we surcharging? Special fees and
I
charges.
know the
It's like-
surcharge.
Any idea?
That sounds about
Sharon?
like my.
Any idea what the surcharges are for?
I can't see.
Surcharge, it says $75 and $100.
$75 is the out of cycle read.
Well, that's unscheduled meter read, $75. Then it says 70, just
Yeah,
above
what is-
that.
If I said it because I'm like, what is that? What is surcharge? I guess, here, let me do a little search on my other document I opened up here. For-
Jill, you have any
for
idea?
Surcharge.
It's a charge for
You
you,
know,
sir.
I can't find the Middlebury
Maybe.
Street for
Okay.
the sprinklers. Somebody had told me they do, but I can't find it. It's not in the general language on their rates on their website.
Alright, so
Where's the
we-
surcharge? Let's see,
Yeah.
system fees and charges, reconnect, inaccessible, surcharge. I don't know. It doesn't
It
tell me
says,
they're charging
I-
to, it's just got dot.
I know. So in the other in the document, we have. Oh, it's what we talked about, this second notice shall inform the owner or user that failure to provide access to the property and or building at the date and time set forth in the second notice shall result in the imposition of a surcharge as defined in Appendix B for the denial of access, which shall be imposed on the next quarterly. And so that's what those surcharges are. So it was,
Oh.
we've added those in. So that was the first
So it should
one.
have some kind of reference.
Right.
I know what it's-
So it's essentially, let's see if we can go back here. So this one is, it's the, what do we have? This is general authority, administration, and effective application. And so that was, yeah,
Maybe.
that was
but
for like a read. It was 2.13, the owner or user upon contact fails to provide access to the property and or building at the date and time set forth. And so then we send a letter, and then they do a new date, and if they don't comply to that date, then we are in position of a surcharge. And then 2.14, if the owner or user fails to provide a town with access to the property, we were sort of in for the second.
What if you put, failure to provide access in
Surcharge.
parentheses there?
Like
After
surcharge, failure to provide access. And you might even be able to put section 2 point whatever, you know?
Yeah.
That way they don't have to do what you just did to figure out. what
Yeah.
we're-
And I can improve on this. Maybe I'll do a slightly better.
Comment for
here.
yourself.
A comment from his comment. This is a poor comment.
Who
Yeah.
I know who it's not.
Exactly. What do I want to say here? Probably this.
Better definition?
Thank you. Better
Or better description?
definition. Here.
Let's see if he remembers what
Yeah,
that
no, I know.
means.
I know, I'm learning. Okay,
Well, I think that right there tells us,
that's better than
Better than-
update
yeah.
this.
Yeah, but even what you have in there is better.
Yes, that's
Cause then
true.
at least we know, okay, that's what the surcharges are for.
So the amended here, that's appendix
B.
B. So we want to throw in amended now, correct?
Well, yeah,
Um,
whenever we approve it.
right, which is gonna be pretty, so we're gonna put this here, and I'm gonna put this as, let's highlight this if I can do that. All right, so let's look at that, because these things are.
You wanna put
jumping
appendix C on a separate page?
No,
on
it's
some
the
page,
whole
okay.
thing is mucked up.
Okay,
So
what was
this,
appendix C?
well,
That's the
construction
specification
specifications,
standards.
which we have, so those were sent out. Do we wanna, does any change need to happen to those? Why don't we,
I thought those were done by Steve and Jill and Kevin, I'm not sure who.
Everybody,
Those
here,
those
let me,
are done by Steve and his CAD technician that he subs in, and myself, so that what the specifications say in pictures and words matches the paragraphs in the ordinance. So that we can just like hand them the drawing, because I feel like the picture speaks better to most humans than a paragraph of words, like pages of paragraphs of words.
yes, I can,
I think you're gonna need both.
You think you're talking to me, Joe?
I'm just saying, in general, it's easier to show somebody something than to just
Yes.
tell them in like lots of words that aren't visual.
So I looked at this meter pit and this doesn't, well, I shouldn't say that. We have meter pits in town that aren't anything like this. They make here we go, the PVC meter pit, the SDR 35 pipe with that the meter sets in. I know that's what's over at the rec field. There's two of them there, one at the rec field, one at the riding rink. And then I believe
one
there's
at Pine Tree Gardens, there's
Gardens,
one
yeah.
at the farm, at the barn on Deveno. So I've
So
seen
my-
those too, but the plastic doesn't touch the water. It just creates a void.
I understand that. That was just me being me. But
Yeah.
this is a concrete manhole structure.
You're
Are
right.
we still,
If it
are we
was just
still
a-
accepting the other is what
Yes, a prefab for a 3/4 service would be totally fine.
well, so then how do we define that? If we're saying C is appendix C, and these are the documents, do we need a second document that defines what Peter's talking about?
this
Possibly.
could be commercial because this is what's over to KTP.
Yeah, you're right, but that's
mean-
also a 2-inch and not a 3/4.
No, yeah, that's a 4-inch. And it's a
Oh.
2-inch meter, but it's a 4-inch line.
Okay. That makes more sense of why the valve is bigger and it's an actual valve and not a curb. Okay.
Yeah.
So does that, do we need if this is, do we-
Well, I would say, in my mind, I would say this is commercial, the other is residential.
Yeah,
so do we need a drawing for residential?
Nah, because we'd be trying to draw what a prefabricated meter pit looks like, and I don't think we should have to, but I suppose you
They
would-
must have,
Okay,
EJP or one of them must have that drawing.
yeah. It's probably even readily available online, honestly.
right, so how do we?
We need to,
because we're-
we need to put it in there.
Right, that's what, so we need to, how do we do that? Can Jill or Steve supply me with that, and we'll add that in as into appendix C?
Yeah, I can get that.
Okay, so let's do that, and
Cool beans.
I'll make a comment over here. So that's in appendix C, so let me make a little comment here.
Do we want to, I'm just asking, do we want to call this a commercial meter pit? I mean, if somebody wanted to put one of these in residential, I wouldn't be opposed to it, but it's
Overkill.
way more expensive than the pre.
He's right. That's a lot of thousands.
Yeah, a lot of
The other
thousands.
one is plumbed as such that it's far more simplified. So
See
yeah,
what
I
you're
think
doing,
that's
just
fine.
so
If
you
you
know.
want to, we can have change this and call this commercial standard meter pit detail. And then we can get him the drawing and he can throw it into the title block like that of the
Okay,
Yeah, so there's this document, there's number 2,
Which is just your.
Typical service
residential
connection
service
detail.
connection, yeah.
Mhm.
And the question I had there is it's just cat for the sake of the drawing after the curb.
That's just cat provide. Oh, that's to provide a compression test. That's to do the pressure test.
Okay.
That's not to, nobody's gonna get water if there's a cap on it.
And
Yeah,
it doesn't say what's there for pipe. It does say copper on the other side.
right here, yeah.
Right, and actually, if they're being temporarily installed or installed for connection later, they should be capped and not taped.
Yeah.
If they're underground.
You notice how Peter looked at all the drawings. I did
Yeah,
not look,
I
I did not look at the
I
drawings.
asked if the drawings were for me.
Of course.
They're for
Well,
99%.
this is what, you know, this is
This is what
when,
you see.
when Steve sends out a plan that
Right.
you have to bid from, this is
Yeah.
what you see.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's why we continue to have Peter on the select board, so he can look at these drawings
That's why
for
he
us.
stays on the select board.
My God.
So are those the only three?
Well, there's that one, and then there's a third. So is this one a standard one, like the
Yeah.
other one that's sort of, you thought it was more commercial? Is this standard? Does this cover every kind of
Residential or?
connection detail?
Well, it's
'Cause if we
three,
put these-
3/4 to 2 inch, yes.
If we put these in here, there will be some deviations or questions because we're supplying these. So does this cover it? as
Yeah.
The
broad?
majority.
Okay,
Sort of. It's not gonna cover if it's like an 8-inch because they're gonna need like a,
Right.
you know, like a tapping sleeve and other, yeah, that's like, it's for like 3/4 to maybe like 2-inch.
It says 3/4 to 2 on it. so-
Okay.
Okay,
And there's-
there you go. Yeah, the big stuff is extra special.
okay, and this is the trench detail.
Typical trench detail, that's on every single engineering drawing you ever get.
Okay,
All right.
all right, so those are those three. Let's go back to this guy. Where's that? There it is.
No more pictures?
No more pictures.
Ah,
I
Okay, so
know.
there's the
going home.
deed. That's the,
Right, so I've got my comment in here, Jill to provide a spec drawing for a residential meter pit, appendix, meter pit, that is a commercial pit. And then we've got our water line quitclaim deed, anything here?
no,
Okay,
that's new, so.
application forms, which we have. Yep. Okay. My goodness.
Woo-hoo.
And I think everything else we had, let me just do a quick nip through. Most of the comments I resolved last meeting.
Right. So the only thing we really need to go back to is the copper.
Okay, what is this?
It's a definition, may is permissive.
Do we leave that in? I thought it was a mistake.
What's the heading of the
Definitions.
definitions?
Yeah, because we were talking about shall and
Yeah, definitely.
shall and required
Okay.
may.
So we're
So-
defining what may is.
Right.
Okay, sorry,
Mhm.
got that. All right, good.
See where it says shall is mandatory.
Yes, okay. And then I had some comments. Let's just leave that, let me see if I can find those. Got too many documents here. When did we did this on the 9th, is that right?
2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago. Yes, I think it was the ninth.
Okay, where are my comments? Let me see if I can find those. quickly.
12?
Yeah, that's right. the 9th. Just do a search here. Yeah, because I submitted a document to Val and we addressed some of them. I just want to make sure. And we got, if I had others that we wanted to look at. Yeah, we did updated definitions. We had application for service. Oh yeah, so. Let's take a quick look here. 14. Let's do a quick go through here. So I think we resolved a lot of these. So we're still getting, we'll let.
Yeah,
Kevin
once
go
we
through
finish
this.
our
Okay.
spot, Kevin's gonna have to go
Okay.
through to make sure his
We'll keep that in.
changes are in there and he adds whatever else needs to be
All
added.
right, let's double check this. create a new application form for repair or replacement.
Right.
Okay. So we still need to do that.
Can it all be on the same form?
Yeah, I'm just check the
Yeah.
box that you need.
Right, yeah, I think you just need to change the original application and say repair, or replacement.
Yeah,
New
because I don't
connection.
think, you know, you don't want Sharon to have to quiz them, what are you after?
Yeah.
Here's
Which
your-
application do you
Here's your
want?
water application.
I
And
can
let-
do that with the highway now.
You have to do that with the
Change the
highway?
application to include,
Well, do you need a driveway?
Yeah.
Are you just working in right away?
yeah, so we want to do,
Do you have a map?
okay, let's do that.
Yeah.
So I'll make sure that's changed. Move this solely to be an appendix or easy updating similar to rates. Can we do that?
Well, we already have the construction specifications
Right.
as a schedule, so I think
But we-
that's done.
But we also do have, I guess I was wondering if we can do the full thing.
No, I think it has to be in here.
Well,
The
Jill-
actual construction specifics can be in a schedule so that we can change them
Or update them?
or
if they
update,
change?
update them.
Well, part of it was like this discussion here, right? It would be easier to change this outside of this as an appendix. So that's what I was wondering, like, can we just say like construction specification, see appendix F, and we take this whole piece out?
Then we can change it
Then we can change it if we needed to.
without going
Yes.
through hearing.
Which is why we have some of the other, like. the rates.
AWWA is American Water Works Association.
Oh, thank you.
So you're thinking, take it out here, add this section stuff to
Just say.
the appendix?
Yeah,
Right.
then you can
Mhm.
update it as things change.
Yeah, that was just,
Mhm.
it was a suggestion, like, are we allowed to do that? Does it benefit us to do that?
Oh, we can try it, and I don't see why not.
And we could run it by Kevin as well.
Yeah.
Jill, any thoughts on that?
Which part are you asking about?
So I'm looking at 6.0 construction specifications. We sort of started at the top of this meeting with that. And I had a question last time, can we take this 6th section completely out and have it as an appendix based so we can update it? Because there are changes that we do make to this. So we don't have to have voter approval for the full thing.
Yeah, I mean, you could actually, you know how your construction details are one of your appendices?
Yeah,
You could also make your specifications and appendices.
okay.
Because if rules change, you are gonna change your specifications. And
Yeah,
I feel like I hope that this update to the ordinance, not the appendices, lasts like many years.
right. Whereas we're still kind of questioning, like, we're still running around with this one.
Yep.
So if that's okay, I can pull this out.
Right, and
Have
then
it
just
be,
say see
okay.
appendix
Yeah.
C.
Yeah, I feel like, could we put the specifications and details in the same appendices?
I don't
Because
know why
they're-
not.
Construction specifications and details are kind of like plans and specs, but for baby
Right.
projects.
Yeah, so we'd have it as D or E or whatever they are, C,
I think it's appendix C,
okay,
because B is the fees.
I like it because that's what we run into a lot is people are kind of wondering, what are your standards? And it's like, well, what do you feel like saying today versus like, boom, right here. It's right here.
Could we leave? Say construction C appendix, whatever, and leave 6.3, or would that, or is it, or do we just pull it all out?
I think we would pull it all out, just because it's such it's a changing kind of thing.
Yeah.
And so I think it would help us to have it pulled out where we can update, like the fees and things like that, not that we're changing fees
And
constantly.
if things change about PVC, we can then change it
like that,
there without
as
having to
opposed to-
reapprove the whole thing.
As opposed to.
Yeah, and we only have a few appendixes that actually have like a larger section,
Right.
most of it's kind of smaller. Okay, we did that here, good. And let's just go to, so the one that I was asking about before, if I can find it again, I just lost it, there we go, was 14. All right, let's take a look at that. Sorry, this scrolling so quickly. Here we go. So I broke this out into more Here, I'll share this, just so you can see.
Which one? 14 what? 14 point,
I'll show you. Sorry, that's so small. Look a bit bigger. These are
yeah, I
again,
can't even read
I know.
that.
These were just suggestions, sort of breaking it out.
Meter pit, it would be like a,
So there, so 14.
like a little baby manhole. but-
So this was sort of like adding a 14.5 water quality complaint procedures,
I'll have to look at
and
that.
then meter testing procedures, things like that. Hang on, let me mute Jill for a sec.
With this meter in it,
Mhm.
kinda.
There we go. So this is just suggestions. I didn't know if we needed more detail in that section. Because it's not that broad, but it definitely does, it helps people in terms of, let's say for this one, what to do. And we're specifying what's going to happen, which we don't really have. It's a 14.5. We end at 14.4, and we don't really detail out a lot of the town responsibilities that are
You
in
say
there.
if meter error exceeds 2% town pays testing costs and adjust the bills for previous 12 months. What if the error's only been for 2 months?
Right. No, that's what I was saying.
So-
Like, this is just sort of like
Yeah.
pieced together from
Yeah.
other things. Because I think people might ask, like, I have this issue, what do I do? And this sort of spells it out. We could also,
Have we had these problems? Or you just,
no, it was sort of like just looking at it and expanding on areas that maybe didn't have clear instructions.
Like when they don't agree with their water read
Right,
and
So-
they won't let us.
The shall in the water supply rule just says, so you know, is 20 PSI, the should is 35.
she's 14.7.
Okay,
Yeah, so in the water supply rule right now, it should be 35 PSI, but the shall is 20. Just as like from a regulation standpoint, we have far more pressure than that in our water system. But
okay.
the should in the rule is 35, the shall in the rule, which is legally binding, is 20.
Well, so I think this is a question for you, Joe. Like, these are a bunch of different things, and it was sort of like what was lacking in the document.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you've seen these or not. I sent
have
these to
not.
Bob. Okay, so if you're able to take a quick peek at these, so this is all in 14. And just on your side, like, does anything stand out to you, like why we wouldn't want to put these things in? Or would it be okay to put them in? And we could run it through Kevin as well, but just sort of as a final thing.
So water quality complaint procedure. There is nothing in the rule right now.
Because we do talk about complaints and if something happens, but it's like the procedure of what you do if you have a complaint. Not that it happens very often.
If I get a complaint on a Saturday morning and they just think that their water's blue in their bathtub, do you want me going there Saturday afternoon? Or,
Yeah,
because I have to tell you, the water quality complaints that we get, generally speaking, are addressed as quickly as possible. It just kind of depends on, are they saying, I feel like I have low pressure? Are they saying, I think I see dirt in my water? Are they saying, I think
Yeah.
my water is blue? Are they saying my water smells funny? It sort of depends on the nature of the complaint. I mean, I've
right.
had people complain that they think their water's making a noise.
my water's gurgling.
Just saying.
So one is fine. All complaints shall be logged with date and time. Obviously, you want to do it. Water operator shall investigate within 24 hours of receipt. You want to add in dependent on nature of complaint or something like that?
Yeah, depending on the severity of the complaint, because if we just flush the water line and people are saying there's some orange in my water, I am not gonna go look at their house because I can tell you
Right.
what, everybody else in the entire system's dealing with the same thing.
Okay. But if it's a serious thing, we're saying like, my water's on fire,
Yeah.
then
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, if I
I would
could,
be serious.
yeah, with my license on the system, if somebody thinks that their water is dangerous, I
Yeah.
go, because I'm worried about it too. I'm like, let me see.
Yeah.
Show me
Yeah.
what you see. Let me smell what you smell. And there's
Right.
almost
Yeah, well,
always a
that's,
reason. So,
Okay,
because if they've got something going into their water, then it could go the other way too.
that's right.
The only thing I'll
Well-
say about this is to be aware of that. If it's in here, we better be following it.
Right,
you know,
that's what I,
why I
that's,
was
and that's
saying
what I wanna ask
24
Joe about.
hours. 24 hours seems really rigid, given the fact that 2 of the days are weekends.
Okay, so you wanna change that to 48?
Or 30,
Yeah.
48, 36, 30, 48, yeah.
Okay, water
Yeah, and the
samples.
thing is, water samples shall be taken if warranted. Who warrants them and who's paying for it?
Okay,
Because they could
Boom.
say, I want you to do a full 26, 27, which is $3,000 worth of water samples. And I can say
At
that's
owner's
unnecessary.
expense. Say
Well-
at owner's expense.
yeah,
If
I mean,
just
if you
take it
determine
with-
it needs to be, if the water operator determines that a water testing needs to be done.
I wouldn't say
That's-
shall, I'd be say water samples will be taken if warranted by the operator.
yeah,
You know, either will be or maybe. I think that it should be left at our discretion, because there's times like we had one on Plank Road where she goes, it smells when I go to brush my teeth. It's that they're at the far end of the system with low chlorine. So I was like, watch
Okay.
this, run it for another minute and it doesn't smell at all. It's just when she first turns it on, there's a little bit of smell.
okay,
Just, it's sitting in the copper pipes with low chlorine and it just kind of gives a little bit of a,
yep,
it's not.
okay. So
I'm not
water
gonna take the
samples,
water, I did check the chlorine residual though, and I did like run the water and smell it and taste it and it was good, so.
okay. So water samples maybe,
I still taste it.
yeah, I
Like
know.
dies there.
Collapses on-
Just saying.
May be taken if warranted by the operator. Written findings shall be provided to the complainant within
Does it
10
have to be
days.
written? Or verbal? Can it be
Yeah, because
verbal?
this, you guys are kind of saying if somebody complains about their water, you now want everything in writing. So up to date, the only one I put in writing was the blue water because I was concerned that she was going to create a legal problem for the water system. Everybody else's has been just like, yep, there's a little bit of iron in there.
Records of all complaints and responses will be maintained for at least 5 years. Do we need that?
I don't know if you guys want to
Kind of
create that.
boilerplate
Where
kind
are
of
you
stuff.
where do you want to keep all
Are
these?
you gonna keep it?
Well, I just take that out then.
Yeah.
Yeah,
The town shall notify state authorities of any violations of drinking water standards.
that's
Yeah,
already
do it
in our,
anyway.
that's required by our permit. I don't know if we want
Okay.
to put that in there and give like.
You put that in, I don't know that you need to
Water-
put that in.
Okay.
If you
Yeah.
give them too much, they're gonna start to like hold you to. some
Sure.
standards that are
Right.
beyond
Yeah, and
us.
that's why I want to make sure that this is like reasonable to do. Meter testing procedures, and I didn't know some of this might be captured in other places in the ordinance too.
We have no facility to test meter accuracy.
Okay,
I've only seen 2 water systems that actually have meter testing and they also run electric departments. We don't have them.
Really?
that was easy. And this, again, these are only suggestions, and so if you're saying like, nope, don't need that, can't do this, totally fine, we can take them out, but I just wanted to highlight them before.
I feel like we could point to the water quality rule for that, and I don't think we should put it in our ordinance, because we can easily point to a document that
Yeah,
has very
which-
specific rules that. we
Which is
have to
produced
abide
every
by.
year.
Right.
Yeah, okay. Wait, same for the water pressure and water quality?
Yeah, it's all in the rules and
Alright.
it's all in your permit and it's all online, so we can point.
Okay. All right, this was now in 15, adding in a 15.9, and we went up to 15.8, obviously. Well, we actually have 15.9, I think that something must have changed. Anything in here that we need to add in? Appeals of decisions.
What do we have in there about the 7 days and 50? Oh, that's a stop water.
Yeah,
You got commissioners.
Yeah. but if we want,
Commission.
let's make sure we want to actually use this. Do we need it?
What would they appeal?
So if they say, I want you to abate my water bill and you say no, they can then say, Yes, please abate it. I'm appealing that decision, right? Is that what this is saying?
Yeah, but if
And
they
I'm
appeal
jumping
that,
in because
Sure,
that
take
can go through the BCA now.
well,
There's no
well,
rule.
first of all, I was like, they're appealing a decision to us that we've already made. It
Uh-huh.
seems dumb.
I think what
Maybe
Sharon was
you'll
just
change
saying
your
is they
mind.
could go to the Public Utility
Change.
Commission, the
Okay.
PUC.
The
So they already
PUC,
have that, so maybe we don't need that in here?
Well, it's new, it's fairly new. I just heard about it in the tax appeal workshop that I went to. They, can now do water and whatever through
Okay.
the BCA like they do for
I,
Grand List.
do you think that makes sense for the BCA to be dealing with
I saw it and I was
appeals
like-
for the water commission? I mean, because the BCA members are not part of the,
All right, so let's take those out then.
yeah, I don't know.
I think it's,
I don't know,
I think it gets
it
too
was kind of
complicated.
weird.
Yeah, I
So
wouldn't,
we do have this then, water claim, which I think is good. Okay, and then I think I already added this in.
no, appendix A wasn't that long on the other document.
Yeah, okay, let's just double check that. Oh, yeah, so this was adding to that. So it was adding in,
I assume
so
all the red,
essentially what it was doing is it was improving the language of our, Appendix A has 4 points, and it was improving the language on that. And the 3 of those points are these, and then it was sort of improving those at the beginning here. And again, it's sort of helping people if they had emergencies or they had issues with the water system, what to do, like a more detailed approach.
you got number 2 stuck to number 1.
Yeah,
You just see that.
Let's knock that up there. Oops. We kind of say this language in there.
Notification, chair of select board, don't you really, God, don't you want to say water commission?
Probably, right? Well, so is it, I think we have. let's
Any
see.
member of the water commission, which is any member of the select board. I guess.
Do you want to get calls if there's a water emergency, or do you want your town administrator and your operator to call you?
I think we want the latter. I think we want the town administrator and you,
Yeah, I think what Valerie was trying to do is make
which is this.
a little bit less disturbed by all of it. And if I think about how things have worked since Valerie has been in that position, the minute we knew of an emergency, she's always the first person. It was like, hey, here's what's going on. And then my expectation was that she was communicating with all of you.
Yes,
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, I don't think you're right.
right. So that's that. Detection of all personnel must report any potential emergency directly to the water operator.
So you don't need that.
Well, notification, it's these notifying this.
Yep. Yeah,
Are
so
we
just
just
to let you know,
expecting
like,
this?
I didn't necessarily per se reach out to the board. I was kind of like, okay, Valerie, I'll let you know, and now we're gonna go deal with this. Like, we're already here dealing with it, but like, just kind of, here's what's
I
up.
think this is good to have in there in terms of for this person's knowledge
Yeah,
that they should be notifying.
oh, yeah, yep.
And then response protocols.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you can notify the water commissioners, but I mean, I think you go to the chair and then the chair could notify or other authorized personnel.
Well, the only thing without delay by town administrator, I think.
Oh, I see.
That's what I was trying to say. The person who has the water emergency is gonna connect with us.
Oh, I see what you mean, right. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of like, we're just going to like who we report to, and then she's
Yeah, that's
reporting to
fine.
you guys.
Okay, got it.
Or whomever
Yeah.
is in that role.
Right, how many people does the person having the emergency have to call?
Right, so in response.
Everybody in
protocols,
town.
Right, I know.
Yeah, you say contamination, but it could also be that there's a leak. So
Okay.
it's different. So a leak, you're not gonna necessarily immediately suspend water supply because you're trying to create the least amount of bad possible. So often you're gonna find where it is while it's still running, and then, if it's a leak, it's gonna be, control the leak and, find/control versus just turn it off, because then it disappears.
Well, so do you want to do this then, add leak? into here?
Maybe because a bad leak is an emergency.
All right, so what would happen in a leak situation?
Is we could just kind of go through our triage. So we're coming in, we're figuring out where it is, what it's impacting, and how we're going to address it.
Okay,
And letting, basically at that point, it's like after we know what the plan is, then we can let people know that they might have a water shut off, which it kind of depends how the leak goes. If the leak is something that we never have to shut the water off and we never open the water line because it's at like a corp, sometimes there's no boil water notice. And sometimes the only people that are, besides letting the town administrator know, and often we'll also let Eric know because it's almost always in a road or in the right of way. If it is impacting potentially water quality or water supply, then we have boil water notices to do, which is like a whole nother layer of fun.
so how about that? Engage emergency contractors to troubleshoot, service and notify affected users, or engage, water
It's the water operator and
operator?
potential contract, yeah. It just kind of depends what it is, yep,
Okay,
yep. And
all
then
right,
it's the infrastructure failure, that's where the contractors come in. It's kind of like, let's figure out what the problem is first, then
okay,
contractors, then we do
that
that.
fits in there. And then, yeah, we've got here, and then this would be 5.
You're gonna have to renumber all of that anyway,
Yeah.
once you fix the
No, I know.
formatting.
Okay, regular updates will be issued by the public by town website, social media. Okay,
Yeah, and just to be clear, like a contamination event could even just be that they change the MCL, like the maximum contaminant level, and we take a sample for a particular constituent, and they say, you're above the MCL, you're on a do not drink order. That hits this. I haven't seen that yet, and I hope I never do, but the fact that they're lowering, which we don't have any PFAS detected at all in our water, but the fact that the feds are gonna lower it to 4, I have a feeling there's gonna be do not drink orders issued to many Vermont municipalities by 2029.
I'm off the board by then.
no way, it's gonna be so exciting, you're gonna wanna stay on the board.
Okay, are we done?
Getting there. Last
You
thing,
kept us another hour.
that was not another hour.
Was it
No-
not an hour?
No way.
Hmm?
It's creeping up on there. Expanded enforcement procedures.
I think that's a Kevin,
Okay,
because I know there's a.
because we always
statute
talk about that. We're always mixing around like, you can do that, you can't do that, you
Yeah,
totally can do
Kevin
that.
said you can, there's a specific protocol that you have to go through, but
Okay.
it can be done,
All right,
but he'll have to put that.
okay, so he'll look
put
through
that in
that.
there,
Okay,
yeah.
super. All right, so I'll add in those to that, and I'll
And we'll
send in
just
an
make a note
updated.
that we have to make sure Kevin looks at that and puts
Yes.
that information in there.
Yeah, wait, for which one?
The suspension.
The suspension,
yeah.
okay. All right, wait, so where in that document is the suspension, I wonder? I'll just highlight that, suspension. It's nowhere in our document.
Well, I know there's
Suspend?
it may be shut off, I don't know.
Well, we've got,
Or,
we have water supply emergency. The town administrator, his or her designee, is empowered to suspend or implement those provisions. So suspension and suspend we do not have that in there. So, I mean, do we have,
there's something in there, I think there's something in there that Kevin was working on, and maybe it's in the appendix, I don't know. Maybe there's an appendix that he was doing, but we should just ask him that.
okay. I'll make a
We should
note.
make sure we ask him that,
Okay,
because I know I had talked to him about shutting people off, and
yes,
he said there is,
I mean, we try
there's a
not to do
statutory
that.
requirement.
Okay.
Yeah.
All
that
right,
Can be done.
let's see here. Go back to our agenda. So that's that. I'll make those updates and send off a new version of that. And then I think we'll look at it one last time and then have Kevin look at it. Correct?
He'll have to go through. that
Okay.
extra stuff.
So that was item 1. Item 4, other business, correspondence reports, correspondence received. Nothing since last month.
That's good to hear.
And then executive session was tentative.
Yes.
Okay, personnel.
personnel.
Okay,
Are we ready?
yes, we're ready.
I make a motion, we enter executive session per one VSA section 313 to discuss personnel matters.
I am out,
Okay.
guys. Have a good night.
Good night, Merry Christmas.
Thanks, you
Thanks.
guys
Thank you.
too.
Good night.
Okay.
Good night, Jim. Merry Christmas.
So we're gonna keep Jessica on. We're gonna remove.
Yes, you are.
You're
excused.
excused.
We're
Have a
gonna-
good
We're not
Christmas,
gonna talk
Sharon.
about you with you in
See you later,
the room,
Jim.
my God.
Why not? I talk about you when you're in the room.
Yeah.
But I don't care.
I'm still on. We're gonna stop the recording. So much to do